Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hello, hello, hello.
Howdy.
Happy Thanksgiving for yesterday. And we're happy to have you here with us again. We'll start with the stats. We tallied 23 primetime shows, out of which written or co-written by a woman, 13, 56%.
Very good.
And directed 9, 39%. Again, I think we see a trend.
We watched a couple of things very recently that were, it really pushed the stats up.
Yeah, we always get super excited when we see that.
A twofer.
Like dorks, feminist dorks. We have a movie-filled podcast for you today because 'tis the season to watch a lot of good movies. And we'll start with one of our favorites.
Well, I'm a terrible liar.
You are, both of us, which is a good thing that we found each other.
So when I tell you that The Good Liar is one of the best films I've seen all year, I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed this film. It was fun. It was suspenseful. It was twisty and turny. I mean, you may think you know pretty much what's going on, but you don't really. You do to a certain extent, but it really has some surprises for you. And, of course, Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
And
Ian McKellen, by the way.
Well, I was going to get to Helen.
No, what I mean is
McKellen.
The movie sits on the shoulders of two greats.
And they are playing it to the hilt.
And you can tell that they're having so much fun.
A wonderful time. I saw them on Broadway several years ago.
She just loves to rub it in, doesn't she?
In a two-hander, basically. I can't remember which Strindberg play it was, maybe the father. Anyway, where they fought constantly. I was in the second row. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And you could just tell that they were still having a wonderful time. And this is sort of like, this is actually, there's quite a bit of subtlety in these performances. Yes. Because they go from one thing, their outward face to their inward face in seconds sometimes.
And the thing is that you might think that you know what's going on, even when they're not showing you what's going on, but you think, I know what's going on. Yeah. Guess what? You still don't know
exactly what's going on.
So when you really find out in the end what's going on, when you think about all of the reactions throughout, all of a sudden you realize really how much subtlety there was and how complex their performances are, especially Helen.
And how complex the script actually was. Yeah. And it is so much fun. It is so much fun. Also in it is
Jim Carter from Carson.
From Carson. And also is in it is Russell Tovey, who many of you have seen probably many times, but mostly from The Wonderful Years and Years.
Yes.
With another of our greatest British our dames.
Yes, Emma Thompson.
And they're both such great dames. Anyway, I couldn't recommend this film more highly, and it has a delicious score by Carter Birdwell.
Yes, who, by the way, also scored Carol.
Carol, yes, and many other wonderful films.
But
Carol, of course, which is my favorite score since The English Patient.
Yeah,
and
since The Prince of Tides.
Well, for me, since The English Patient. And I knew from that when the film was just giving the
credits,
not even just the credits, it was just who had distributed the film.
Right.
The score started, and I said, this is going to be a beautiful score. And the next thing we know...
And we have the score.
Yes, it was
and
Carter Birdwell.
On second and third plays, I love it. In fact, I can pay more attention to the score now because I'm not, just listening to it. It's so wonderful.
There's nothing like a good score.
Really? I mean, Carter Birdwell is so good.
So The Good Liar, I tell no lies. Go and see it. Enjoy it. Revel in the performances. performances. It's a very satisfying film.
And I just want to say two things about The Good Liar before we go on, which is we have talked about it before, but I'll just mention briefly that it was written by Jeffrey Hatcher and Nicholas Searle and directed by Bill Condon, and did a great job, both of the writers, the script, screenplay, and the direction, and the editing, right? And I do want to say, when we went out of the theater, we heard some people kind of like down talking it, and I want to say there's nothing wrong with seeing a movie for sheer pleasure.
Exactly.
No, it wasn't the greatest story ever told, but actually it had a lot more layers than we thought, and I think they did a great job.
So do I. And also to mention the New York Times review, which is to me the Bible. The
I think he didn't get it.
He didn't get it.
No.
He really, really, really didn't get it, and I was very surprised because I disagree with him at times, but it's always the review I go to after I've seen something, or if I want to know what something is about. And he
really
didn't
get it. No. So, The Good Liar, definitely go see it. Now, we also talked to you about the report last time and told you that we were going to see it and tell you about it. Again, it's written and directed by Scott Z. Burns, starring Annette Bening, Adam Driver, Maura Tierney, among many other wonderful actors, and it's in theaters now.
Based on a true story.
Based on the true events of Senator Dianne Feinstein, who led the investigation into the CIA's detention and interrogation program post 9/11. And I thought, okay, we knew it was going to be torture because, well, we all know there was torture, but we had to walk out.
We walked out for two reasons.
We walked out for two reasons. One is that most theaters these days play everything so loudly, but in the torture scenes, if you've seen torture scenes, most of them include death metal music, if you can call that. Well, I won't go into that.
Because it's torture.
Because it's torture.
Played at outrageous volume.
Which is what we experienced in the theater.
Experience it. Well, I don't need to experience it. I don't go to the movies to be tortured.
Right. I mean, we could have gotten the idea without the extreme levels of volume, but also because So the story is extremely important. The cast is excellent, but there is so much torture, and we're talking about real graphic torture scenes. Some of which we were familiar with, like waterboarding and
noise,
stress
positions,
but things that I could never even imagine and are just horrifying. And as much as I really do think that the story needs to be told and people need to know, well, what I mean is we are the destination, we're the target audience for this because we want to know these things. We're interested. It's an intellectual piece. It's fine. But if we couldn't take it, even for a movie that we really wanted to see, I think they went a little too far. I understand that they really wanted us to get it, but we got it.
It's going to be on Amazon. Momentito.
Because it is an Amazon film.
Yes, it's an Amazon production. Yeah. And I will watch it.
Yes.
But this way we can have our own level of sound. We can fast forward through the torture scenes.
Right.
And we will still get the point of the film. Annette Bening seemed to be very underplayed and wonderful. Adam Driver also. It's
Maura Tierney played against type.
Oh boy, did she! And it's the spoken words, the actual action of the film that isn't torture, is very sort of low key, maybe purposely to juxtapose it against the.
Well, also this is an intellectual.
Yeah, it is.
It's all about politics and
the drive for the truth.
Yeah,
how people will really, really, really dig and delve and.
But at the same time, I think this kind of subdued, as you said, kind of very subdued dialogue, also on the part of the torturers and the decision makers on that end, shows really how little emotion they invested in. I mean, they didn't think of these people as people. It's really horrifying. And we are going to watch it when it comes to Amazon. I really am sorry that we couldn't sit through it.
I really want to watch it because I remember when it was happening, and I don't remember exactly what the resolution was, and I want to see it.
Well, and oftentimes
they the CIA
oftentimes they uncover things that we didn't hear about. I also need to mention that this was the movie we watched on Mimi's birthday.
Yes, which except for. rare occasions, usually we go to the theater, but this was a Monday where there is no theater. On rare occasions, whatever we go to see for my birthday is just a bust. Though not My Fair Lady with Laura Benanti. Or The
theater,
English Patient,
yes.
which was...
So the report, watch at your own peril or watch at home when you can be in charge of how you watch it. This next film, though, is one of my favorite films of the year. It's called Judy. You can imagine what it's about. It's in some theaters still now because it opened actually quite a few weeks ago.
It was over the summer.
Right. It was actually
Richard.
Right.
We weren't able to see it.
I wonder if they were timed. I don't remember when it came out. If they timed it with her death, which was actually on my birthday, June 22nd. Directed by Rupert Gould and written by Tom Edge. It's based on the stage play, which we've also seen,
Yes.
End of the Rainbow by Peter Quilter. But it goes in different directions. It kind of starts off from the same kind of idea as the play, and it certainly focuses on the same time frame. But
it's
it
opened up
right,
completely.
which a movie can do that a play cannot.
Especially that we get to see performance.
We did the play was excellent.
The play was wonderful, but we didn't get to see performance. We didn't get to see...
Yes,
she sung
a little
some.
bit, yes.
Yes. But,
This is starring Renee Zellweger, who, by the way, did all of her own singing, and I salute her courage.
exactly.
And Jessie Buckley, Darcy Shaw, who played the young version of Judy, and a few others, Finn Whitrock, you might know Michael Gambon.
Yes, he's also done some soap.
And this focuses on the last kind of time frame.
The last gasp.
In Judy's life when she had to go to London because nowhere else wanted her. She went to London for a stint of shows.
An extended engagement at Talk of the Town.
And this is pretty much leading up to her death. And first of all, it was so heartbreaking and so moving and so beautifully done. And again, I applaud Renee. She did a phenomenal job in a pretty much thankless
exactly.
role. Because, whoever says, well, she's no Judy Garland, guess what?
Nobody is
Judy Garland.
And so what should we do? Should we pack up Judy's memory and... which is so rich with drama
and such an important tale to tell about the plight,
the horrors of what happened to
Hollywood
stars, starlets, the younger.
Listen,
especially the youngest ones.
Look at Amy Winehouse. Look at Whitney Houston. It's still happening.
But this was during the studio years.
Right. When they could pretty much do anything to them.
Louis B. Mayer is like...
the devil.
The devil. It's very well put. He is. He's like the friggin' devil.
And her mother is the devil's wife.
The devil's advocate.
You just want to hug this woman, and so Renee, and also the fact that she wanted, I don't know if she wanted or whoever decided, and actually I think it was the director's decision for her to do her own singing, because I think so much of the singing, it was not like a musical where all of a sudden she bursts in song. It was important for it to convey the emotion, and it was part of the drama.
Her state of mind, the point of her health at that particular time. She was already losing.
It's not like she needed
her
to
voice
be.
Had lost its luster, but it was still Judy Garland, and she evokes Judy Garland.
Right, she doesn't need to be her,
and in her performance as the woman.
I think she did great justice to the woman in the story, and I think she honored her.
She really did.
She really moved me to the core, to my soul.
Yes, and I just want to throw in for Game of Thrones fans, Bella Ramsey plays Lorna Luft, who you will remember as Lady Mormont.
I did Google it later, and I'm happy to say that much of the movie relies on actual facts. There are a couple of things that were meant for dramatization, like a relationship that Judy had with two gay fans that was absolutely
one of our favorite things.
Beautiful. And I didn't care that it was, made up because it was meant to show her connection with the gay community. And it was a beautiful story.
Yes.
So really, 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 I love this movie. I think Renee Zellweger so far, even though we have a lot to see still.
Yes, we do.
She is very much in the running to become
Best
actress of the year. So Judy, in some theaters still, but I'm sure that soon enough it will be on demand and digital.
Now, another biopic, as it were.
They only took 200 years to make.
Yes, apparently this Harriet, about the great Harriet Tubman, is the first film ever made about her, and I can hardly believe that. But then again,
I know.
it's written by Cassie Lemons and Gregory Allen Howard, and directed by Cassie Lemons.
Woohoo.
You go, girl.
Yep.
And it's starring the amazing Cynthia Erivo, Leslie Odom Jr., Janelle Monáe, who was lovely and wonderful, Joe Alwyn, and Vanessa Bell Calloway, among many others. There's so much I didn't know about Harriet Tubman. I did know she was very important to the Underground Railroad, that she was an escaped slave. The woman is a superhero.
She is.
She was simply a superhero. They should. I'm surprised that she wasn't invented by Marvel or DC. Seriously. She saved, in the end, like some 790 slaves.
Yeah.
But just by going back and forth between Maryland and where she had been a slave, and Pennsylvania, which was
and eventually Canada.
yes, which was free.
Yeah.
She brought hundreds of people out of slavery, and she did it first alone and then with the help of others. It's so inspiring. It's so amazing. And quite the opposite, I'm so happy to say, from the report. They keep the horror of slavery, the violence of slavery, rapes and beatings and
lynching.
They keep a lot of it off camera, to the imagination, in retelling. You do see some things.
Scars. You see the results.
But it's not in your face, because we already saw that in 100 other shows and movies about slavery. 12 Years a Slave. We know what happened. At this point, we don't have to be re-horrified by it. It takes away from being able to really focus in on the story of Harriet. And what is important is the story of Harriet and her immense courage and resourcefulness. But she was helped by freeborn black people, people who had escaped. There were also white abolitionists who were helpful in the pursuit of freedom for slaves. And it goes to the Civil War, and then it tells her story beyond that. She lived to 91 years old, which is very wonderful to know. So her performance was very controlled.
Oh, but it was so rich.
But so rich in emotion and power. It's a riveting film. There's a lot of suspense, and it's really beautifully made. I also a wonderful score.
Yes, wonderful score, and a great song,
great anthem
theme
that
song.
I'm sure will be
by
nominated
Cynthia Erivo,
for an Oscar.
We saw Cynthia in The Color Purple on Broadway, and she is just magnificent. And I think this performance really blew my mind in its subtlety. Because the movie is, again, like you said, it's not graphic, it's not, it's very subdued. The entire movie rests on her shoulders, not only because she's in pretty much every single frame, but also because it's so subdued, everything is in her face, every emotion, everything they go. And this is the beauty of it. They don't need to show you all these things, because all you need to do is look at her face.
The torture that we do experience is emotional torture.
Yeah.
The separation of families, those kinds of losses.
The injustice.
And the lengths to which the slave owners will go. By the way, Jennifer Nettles is in it.
Yeah.
Not singing, and quite wonderful.
Yes.
A really good performance as an awful woman.
This was an excellent performance, excellent movie, and we highly recommend it. Harriet, again, I cannot believe that it took so long to make a movie about this woman. There should be so many movies about this woman, and it's about time we put her not on the $20 bill,
the $100 bill, exactly. But I like Ben Franklin.
Finally, and we'll talk about it very briefly because we're actually going to do a Lesbian Movie Club about it.
We just got the screener today. We're very excited.
It's A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's a French film. You probably have heard about it because there was a lot of buzz about it. First of all, it won the Queer Palm and the Best Screenplay at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was very close to getting the Palme d'Or. Mm-hmm. It didn't in the end, but the fact that France then decided not to submit it at its Academy Award submission
I think speaks volumes about what France thinks about us.
About the. I mean, listen. As we said, all they needed to say was, "Look at what happened to Carol."
Happened to Carol, exactly.
But nevertheless, it finally is opening in theaters in the U.S. December 6th. It was written and directed by Celine Sciamma. And I'm not going to go into the details because we will do a whole vlog about it.
It is a period piece.
It's a period piece. It takes place in France in 1760.
Brittany.
And it's a lesbian film. It's supposed to be excellent. We cannot wait. In fact, we're not going to wait.
We're going to wait. About 10 minutes after we say goodbye, we're climbing into our favorite viewing spot, our bed, and going to watch Portrait of a Woman on Fire.
Lady on Fire.
A Lady on.
Yes.
Sorry.
And we actually have lots of movies coming up. We're getting so many screenings. I'm not complaining. I'm so happy.
No, we're not complaining. We're thrilled.
There are a lot of really good movies starring women that we will tell you all about, but we will do a special vlog about this. I know that many of you have been asking for it, and we in the U.S. just had to wait a little while longer. So, with that, something to look forward to. And also coming up, a special vlog that we're doing about the Apple TV Plus TV shows. So keep an eye out for that as well. We have lots to tell you about those shows and the streaming service in general. So
if you're watching football today, whatever you happen to be doing.
We're not. We're watching A Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
and many other movies and television shows that do not involve a pigskin ball.
No. So have fun, have a good weekend, and
happy holidays.
We'll see you very soon.
Yes, bye.
Bye.